A look now at the AFC playoff picture. Kansas City and New England atop with 2 spots in the conference. Houston at the top of the South, Pittsburgh with a half-game lead in the North. The Chargers have a firm grasp on that first wild card spot, while the Ravens hold the AFC's second wild card spot. All right, that brings us to this. It is our wild card confidence meter, okay? Are we wild? Are we mild? I don't know. We're going to try and figure.
Somewhere in between, perhaps.
We're a little bit in between. We're going to try and figure out who will make the playoffs here. So we'll start by talking about the Ravens. They kept the train rolling behind a rookie quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who improved to 3-0 as a starter. Baltimore has committed itself to the run. It ran for 207 yards in Sunday's win, making its 3rd straight 200-yard rushing game, the longest streak in franchise history. So Tim Hasselbeck up first. With the Baltimore Ravens, are we mildly confident, or are you just wild about this team in the postseason?
You know, I don't know that I'm mild or wild, but I'm more wild on the Ravens' chances. In part, a lot of what you were just talking about, Wendy, their ability to run the football and how difficult Lamar Jackson has been to defend. There's a reason that they've won his, couple of starts now. And I think even with a Joe Flacco getting healthy, I still think we're going to see a lot of Lamar Jackson, maybe just even as the starter. And so they're going to play good defense. They're going to be hard to defend because of his ability to run. And with a 1-game lead over the rest of the division, I think they can easily get to 9.
Jackson came in and continued to win. He's won his first 2, then he puts together 3. There'll be plenty to talk about, but right now I think Baltimore benefits from having 2 quarterbacks.
Well, that does help in terms of making your opponent have to prepare. I think that this Sunday for the Ravens is a chance for the idea of defensive run of the football to be brought back, right? The Cowboys introduced it on Thursday night when they slowed down the Saints, but a lot of people are saying that's a 1-game aberration. Can the Ravens mimic the formula the Cowboys used to defeat New Orleans against Kansas City? The difference is you're playing on the road as opposed to in your home stadium, but a massive challenge that could really change the tenor of their season with the win on Sunday.
Huge difference when you talk about home and away, especially with the Saints.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Dolphins. Miami improved to 6-8, squeaking out a win on Sunday against the Bills. This was despite letting rookie quarterback Josh Allen just scramble all over the place. The Dolphins have played some up-and-down football since their 3-0 start. Ryan Tannehill's injury, of course, didn't help, but they are still in the hunt. Field, with terms of Miami, are we mild or wildly confident they'll sew up the wild card?
I'm going to bring out the aqua color.
Leave it to Field to notice that and pick up on that.
No detail left on notice, Tim Hasselbeck, and Wendy, you just
from
mentioned
New England,
it.
after
I was going to say, is that a monogram?
Bill Belichick is
it's not fair.
3-6 over their past 9 games are the Miami Dolphins. They can't seem to find any semblance of a consistent offensive rhythm. They barely score points, it feels like, in some weeks. And, defensively, they've been fine. They've got a blue-chip cornerback in Xavier Howard, some other really good pieces. But they welcome the Patriots this weekend. And, when they're squeaking by a team like Buffalo, who is so shallow right now in terms of offensive weapons, I respect the fact that they've made it 6 wins through 12 so far. But Miami feels like one of those teams that, it wouldn't surprise me if they lose their next 3 games. At Minnesota, home to the Patriots, against the Jaguars, who maybe have a new life to them after this past Sunday's game against the Colts. Feeling pretty mild on the Dolphins' outlook.
Coach, what say you?
Oh, I think the Dolphins are doing a good job. They're playing good defense, but they're not doing things to beat themselves, which are letting them win those close games. So, I think they got a big test this week against the Patriots, but they do have them at home.
All right, let's talk about those Colts for just a minute. The Jaguars ended the 7-game losing streak on Sunday by shutting out a Colts squad that had ticked off 5 straight wins. This was after a 1-5 start. It marked the first time Indy has been shut out with Andrew Luck as its starting quarterback. It ended his 8-game streak with at least 3 passing touchdowns. Again, still in the mix here, wild or mild on Indy.
Well, again, to watch that game against Jacksonville, they smothered them. And, anytime you have Andrew Luck, you have a chance. So you got to give them some kind of a chance for the playoffs. But, they're at Houston. I'm still just going to go mild. All right, again, even with Andrew Luck, and I think, they played good defense the other day. I don't know what they'll be like stopping Deshaun. I'm still just going to stay mild, even though I love Andrew Luck and what he's done this season. But I just think it's a little too too late.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. Listen, at the Texans, playing the Cowboys on the horizon, And look, I think the Giants have been a little bit better, sitting at 6-6 with that remaining schedule and kind of their inconsistency. I see it the same way.
Yeah, the next two defenses they see are similar to what happened to them, with Jacksonville.
Not a lot of moral victories in football, but this team's a year ahead of schedule, if not a couple years ahead of schedule, right? They broke the defense down to basically the capital because of that trade they made with the New York Jets this past March. This team is loaded going
Feels
forward.
wild on the future.
He's
That's
wild.
right. Yes.
Hey, but you know what? That not negative him.
There we are.
I just said I just said he's wild.
2019 is going to be a big year. I'm going to graduate high school. The Colts are going to make the playoffs.
Gloomy things did for Tennessee on Sunday. Thanks to a late game winning drive from Marcus Mariota. His 7-game. Well, that too, by the way, could bode well for the future. But let's talk about now, wild or mild on the Titans with the playoffs. Oh, we're going all the way green.
I mean, look, I just think. I mean, again, once you graduate from high school,
It'll change up.
Look, I think when you look at the Titans, it's been peaks and valleys for them. They are an inconsistent football team. Yes, comeback win against the Jets this past week. But the Jets were awful. I mean, the Jets basically gave that one back. You look at the Titans, had a punt blocked, had a PAT block. To me, they do not look like a team that, regardless of how easy the schedule may be, and it is not a brutal schedule, I don't see them consistently stringing enough wins together to get it done. Been getting gashed in the run game, and the offense has been inconsistent all season long.
Well, they too might be a year away. They got a new coaching staff. They're making some changes, trying to bring in a new system for Mariota. We'll see. But anyway, how about Denver? Okay, 3-8 going into their Week 10 bye. We thought it was all over, but then they flipped it around, beating the Bengals Sunday. They've won 3 in a row. And a big reason for the Broncos' resurgence has been, how about Philip Lindsay, the undrafted rookie who's had at least 100 scrimmage yards in every game over the 3-game win streak, not to mention a few, what they call it, holiday greetings with one Bill Belichick. Field, wild or mild when it comes to the Broncos?
Not quite going to break the scale here, but certainly
you're
And we're talking about this year.
Talking about this year. That's right. We're talking about
Important distinction.
The present right now for the Denver Broncos.
What makes you so confident?
Well, I think they found
And we're talking about this year.
Talking about this year. That's right. We're talking about
Important distinction.
The present right now for the Denver Broncos.
What makes you so confident?
Well, I think they found their formula right now. Right on offense, it's going to be allows Philip Lindsay to be the centerpiece of that offense, and you don't need massive production. The reality is that in Week 17, there's a chance, if not a good one, that the Chargers are locked. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos enter that game 9-6. Chris Harris is a massive one. He's a good player, and he broke his leg recently, but I think this defense, and you might see with no Chris Harris.
And we've talked about the you don't know. All bets are off. Anything can happen.
What I love is over the last 3 weeks, all I've heard about is creativity and this, and even talking about Baltimore, same thing here with Denver, the ability to run the ball and play defense. You look at Houston, we talked about Baltimore. I mean, it's still a great formula in this league, and I like their schedule. And look, everybody's talked about the Kansas City Chiefs, but that division is not wrapped up with the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, this clean sweep in terms of liking the chances for the Broncos. Their defense is good. They have a good defense. Philip Lindsay's just about ready to be a 1,000-yard rusher already.
64 yards away. Yeah.
So, I mean, just think about the production, to your point, Coach, they are getting in the run game. He's been phenomenal. Remember, Case Keenum, yes, it was a career year last year, but I think he's good enough to, kind of get hot, create a little offense for them. Emmanuel Sanders has continued to be good. Cortland Sutton, I think, is also getting better as the season, goes along here. The schedule certainly is helpful. I think it's a really good shot. Denver finds himself in a good spot.
Happy for Case Keenum, too, by the way, who has an opportunity to prove it wasn't just a one-hit wonder. That there was a reason that Denver identified him as their guy, went out and got him. So we shall see. The news not as positive for the Bengals, who seem to have had more than their share of tough news this season. A.J. Green will miss the rest of the year. He suffered a toe injury Sunday. That means surgery. It spells the end of his season. He's been selected to the Pro Bowl in each of his first 7 years in the league. Still to come on NFL Live, who doesn't love a good hurdle? Saquon certainly does. So does Kamara, and Zeke will have the best from the season straight ahead.
He's still on his feet. Are you kidding me? Holy catfish. What a play by Chris Carson.